Your driving history could be enough to make you a police target, and there are already multiple cases showing it has happened. Imagine driving across a state line. You buy something that is legal where you bought it, then you drive home. You don't think anything happened, but a camera has recorded your license plate. Then another camera records it, and another. In Wisconsin, police used flock cameras to follow exactly this kind of interstate movement. Court records show that officers tracked Edward Abrams Phillips' vehicle from Wisconsin into Michigan and back again in April 2025. They noted that the vehicle had traveled to Michigan frequently, calling Michigan a known source state for marijuana, as it is legal there. When Flock later showed the vehicle heading back toward Green Bay, deputies coordinated an interception and stopped it. A search found 8.22 grams of marijuana, and Abrams Phillips was ultimately convicted of marijuana possession. The important part is what happened before the search. Police used a network of cameras to turn a series of ordinary movements into a theory about what someone might have been doing, and that is where this technology becomes much more powerful than a simple camera on a highway. A camera records a moment. A network can reveal a pattern. And once someone decides that pattern looks suspicious, your movements can start becoming evidence. Flock says its system is intended for legitimate investigative purposes, with searches restricted to authorized users and logged for review. But the Wisconsin case shows how much information can become relevant once those cameras are connected across jurisdictions. And if you think the biggest danger is simply being watched, the next case is much worse. Sometimes the information being used against you isn't even correct. In August 2026, police in Brookfield, Wisconsin, conducted a high-risk traffic stop after a Flock alert linked a vehicle to a Milwaukee homicide investigation. Officers stopped the wrong vehicle on a very busy major interstate, Highway I-94, with guns drawn. Traffic ground to a halt as the scary scene unfolded. The people inside were not the people police were looking for. The problem was reportedly an outdated vehicle alert that had not been removed from the system. The technology transmitted an alert, officers trusted it, and an innocent driver ended up in the middle of an armed police stop. A surveillance network does not have to be malicious to become dangerous. It can simply be wrong, outdated, misunderstood, or trusted too quickly. And this is already happening often enough that the Institute for Justice has documented dozens of cases involving Flock-style camera and data errors that resulted in innocent motorists being pulled over, detained at gunpoint, or jailed. In one 2026 case, an innocent couple was detained at gunpoint after a Flock camera misread their license plate, while their 6-week-old baby was sitting alone in the back seat. The deeper problem is what happens when a system designed to find criminals becomes a system capable of creating suspicion around ordinary people. And if you're interested in the future evolution of this technology, be sure to hit like and subscribe, as this channel will continue covering the latest trends. This is where the story gets much darker. This story isn't only about marijuana, and this isn't entirely hypothetical. In Texas, a sheriff's deputy used Flock's nationwide network to search more than 83,000 cameras for a woman who had a pharmaceutical, self-managed abortion. Investigators were considering whether she could be criminally charged, showing how a vehicle surveillance network could be used to locate someone across state lines for something that happened inside their own body. And that raises a much bigger question. What happens when this network becomes nearly impossible to escape? Imagine hundreds of thousands of cameras covering highways, cities, and state borders. Your car is photographed every time you travel. The system knows which roads you take, which cities you visit, and how often you cross state lines. Today, an investigator might look at those images and draw a conclusion. In the future, AI could do that analysis automatically. It could identify unusual travel patterns, connect separate sightings, and build a picture of your movements before a human investigator ever looks at them. And none of the individual things you did has to be illegal. You could simply be traveling somewhere you have never been before, visiting a particular type of business, attending a political demonstration, or crossing a state line. The system doesn't need to know what you did. It only needs to decide that your pattern is unusual. The Wisconsin case shows how quickly ordinary travel can become an investigative clue. The mistaken traffic stop shows what can happen when the information is wrong, and the abortion investigation shows how far a connected network can reach. The camera doesn't need to accuse you. It only needs to remember where you went. And once millions of those movements can be connected and analyzed, driving could become one of the most heavily recorded parts of everyday life. You may still be completely free to go wherever you want, but everywhere you go, you would be in one big digital prison. And eventually, the algorithm would get to decide whether or not you land behind bars. The future is arriving faster than most people realize. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Stick around for more analysis on AI, technology, and the systems shaping tomorrow.